Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to the Fernando Henry channel, the channel that helps you learn city. This video is a suggestion from 2 subscribers here on the channel. Alvaro Barbosa
Fernando,
and the Fusion
show your
Mobile
buildings
channel and the specialties
Alvaro
of each
Barbosa
of them asked like this. Fusion Mobile asked for layout tips, right? How to make a good layout.
Buildings
you should start making tips on how to improve the design of your city, the layout. Come with me, beauty. The first step to create a layout is to know the range of the bases. You start with this, then with this one, then with this one. I'll leave it here. And on the card explaining how to play a list the correct way. And there are going to make that playlist come true. You can see, folks, well placed, right? If I put a max mansion here, it would be wrong. I have to put as much as it can. What are you going to do? Let's say you made a track here, and then you're going to put your base that you have, whether it's fire, police, or health, then you'll see its base reach. In this case, for me, if I put it here or a little more here, it will work from the moment you start to understand this here. Then we go to the second step. Let's go. Now, when I started playing SimCity, I think many players made this mistake. I made one city, and so I was sad because it wasn't to my liking, and I started destroying the buildings. I started destroying this, then caused a certain difficulty for me, because we know that when you start destroying buildings, you will increase in level, right? You build buildings, destroy them, you increase the level, and then, you know, it snowballed. Make the game difficult for me. A lot of things went wrong, and the main tip for those who want to build a really cool, healthy layout is to know how to centralize the bases. And you can see in education, my main base, they are all central, because when you leave a base centralized, it will have the greatest reach of all the houses around it. But if you take a base like this one and place it, for example, here, you can use it, right? The spaces, I'll put it here, since it goes wrong. Guys, it's almost similar to the firefighters' health bases. Oh, you have to get the best range. Even a crime, when I put them, they are more hidden. Not only for this base. Education, leisure, monuments, parks, you always have to place them central way. And here, and I always say this, you can get a copy here of the layout of my city. It was made in blocks, and I started like this with 3 houses each, and then time passed. I started to like the game. I started to evolve, and now they have a row of 4 houses. If I put a row of 5, oh cool, left with 4 buildings, looks ugly, you know, there each here to make these rows. After the update, that increased a little more space in the, see, you can see that it increased, but I destroyed, you know, in quotation marks, my city here of the Omega buildings. And I also made more a row here and a row of 3 buildings. This row was a way that I found not to put the trains at risk. The trains, we know it's a very controversial topic. Many people don't like the trains, but I'm a good player. I always like to put an update in my city if I had put it here. Plus the 4th building would be viable, but in relation to the trains, it wouldn't be very cool. And speaking of layout at this moment, right about the SimCity game, you are starting to put together a layout. You have to think about a way of how you are going to place it there, right? Music, as I said, the train is not something essential. Why I bought the train? The train here, because it can be done circulating around the city. And so, but if you don't have this, I think it's cool, right? I think it's cool seeing the train circulating around. I said, okay, here. Remember, I didn't do it in blocks because it would be ugly, right? Because when you get here, the city is no longer a block. So I put a row, right? I call it a mural. I call it a wall. So you can understand better. I call it a wall. When there. So that's it for me. I thought it was cool because it, right? It's a neighborhood here. It's going to be like the center of this neighborhood. And here, put my Omega Industries on this side. If you've been following me for a while, you know that the Omega project in my city, the tubes that I built the laboratory for, they were here. Oh, this land is a very prosperous land. A land that has a mountain cover, little beach you can get. And that's why I transferred the Omega laboratory here. You can see that this space, this land, because there isn't much useful, and you who are there on the other side, you who are already starting to make your Omega houses, you will put your Omega laboratory, your Omega bases, always here. And I stick them all together because if you put them separately, let's say you take a base, this one here, and put it here in the center, it won't pollute, right? Because the Omega bases don't pollute, but you'll lose population. What do you mean, Fernando? You'll lose population here. Instead of this base, it could be a park, it could be leisure, and it's good for you to bring them all together, the bases, in a beauty. Another cool thing about the layout that you can think of, but it has nothing to do with placing your city hall in a place where you can have good access. You're starting from here, and if you put your city hall there at the end of the city here, for example, you're going to walk all this here, you're going to run. Always a good idea to put it in the center, put it in the place. Quickly so get your money here, right? The fastest way to play layout is that your layout has to have an idea. Let's say you want to make a super city, you have to start thinking about the city center here. When I started my city, I already had this idea. Proposal to me, I said, no, I want to create a super megalopolis. I want a city that anyone who visits my city will say, oh, very beautiful city, an incredible city. And my idea was this: resources, create and the tips that I give you to create a center. Put too many tall bases here, guys. It's cool because the bases, the tallest one I'm going to have is Colossus, which is a base that I really appreciate. Of these bases here, I had these bases at the beginning of the game because I really liked the Omega Tower. If I put the Omega Tower here, you see, guys, because it's going to start covering the city center, and you want to create a center like that, really cool. Okay, smaller bases. It's always so that good people can see not only the people, but you understand the entire center of it, the beauty of your city here. Another cool situation, you might think, Fernando, why didn't you fill it with tall buildings? Further back, here? I did this, guys. I even took the test, but I didn't like it. Center. And if I go straight here, I'll see the name of my city from OB City, right? Epics would cover the mountain attractions there, and it would look ugly. Oh, and here it looks cool back here. Oh, here was a European neighborhood, right? The houses in London here. Later I can put a better base, right? And here, yes, here next to me, see, I liked it. I can then put these buildings back here, right? And put the European neighborhoods here. And in my opinion, it looks cool placed here, these buildings in Tokyo, because it was like a wall, right, of buildings. And so, look, there's a highlight. The train passes by and here. You start filming, it takes a lot of time. Imagine yourself on the train and seeing it here. These buildings here, an effective tip, are very exuberant when you have European buildings and you have a river, or there are some attractions I always recommend. Oh, you have to put them in front of the bigger buildings, because if you put them here, these buildings in front of smaller ones, it will block the view of the smaller ones, and it won't be of any use if you have made these buildings here, right here. I have buildings, right? And art buildings. What are these here? I have the building in Paris, the building in London, and so it's really cool. If you have your mind like that, do a European project, always do that. Put these buildings in many landscapes, put them in a water landscape, a landscape of parks. One time I was at the market, I visited a city and I thought it was really cool what the guy did. And the guy made a city with just a European theme, the epic buildings. He left it aside and made it European. But if you don't have that patience, if you really want to create just layout, right? So that you like it and so that you can create and gain population, I always recommend that you don't destroy your houses. You who are just starting to play and didn't like it, keep saving a building there because it will. Time when that building is going to be used for something that you are going to do. Great, guys. Any questions, you can talk to me there, right? I always like to respond. I answer quickly and continue. Right, the layout. Something very clueless, right? You who are level 20, level 30 don't do these. Tracks that I have here now, right? They are the meglev tracks. They are the full track, are the best tracks. This one is the maximum level, right? 30 or even level 40, if you do these tracks here, you might regret it here. Guys, you can see here, there aren't many meglev but I had to destroy them. And imagine if you made the whole city like this one and regretted it, right? To do that project, and I destroyed the tracks. Meglev, it's very difficult, guys. For you to get here, track to the maximum level, and then you will have the option of covering them, right? With Omega coins. And as I always do, I'm just saying that in it, one thing leads to another. For you to reach the level of these clues here, you have to have a good tax, right? Omega coins. And it's always good to have several Omega buildings to help you, okay? You can think, Fernando, what you're talking about. Your city is very cool, your city is well set up, but my city is not at that level. And so maybe these tips won't work for me. Well, if you have this thought, I'm going to take you now to my city, Valverde. There you'll understand something really cool here. Music also, guys, when I started to unlock it, right? It was my first city. I started here. The city here. These buildings maximum are right. All I can do about 4 more or 5 here. And said at the beginning of the video is this. Look, here in the police, and it took the most. The police took it. If I put it further here, I have 2 wrong. Look, here it is, getting your biggest range, and it's always a good idea to do it. Oh, like a row, right? So it can get the entire range. And then here, the normal leisure health bases of monuments. So you can get a greater amount of population. Like I said, here I have more space. I can build something else cool here too. Here it's a little messy. I tell you the truth because I don't have time to organize, but the main trick of a good layout is this. When you make a row of houses, in the middle in this row you place the leisure attractions of monuments, and other side you will place your other houses there, right? A simple example. Here, see guys, here is a row of houses, here are the attractions, and here is another row. You doing this method both horizontally and vertically. This is the main advice I give. It doesn't go wrong. The beauty of these regional cities that I have, the one that I'm happiest with is this one. Personal city. I made the most of its land, right? From the beginning. I'm going to give you a little zoom here. You can see there are no flaws. Feel free, if you want to use this same format, you can do it in your city, their regional that you have here on the beach. And what I found, that's cool all I did for her. It's perfect. Right? Nothing was left, and there wasn't a house missing space. It wasn't like a base missing space. Everything was fine. Music accommodated, and continuing with our video. Let's go here for the second situation. I have several buildings. Maybe you can see a print there. Talking about the buildings, and I'll show you here. My suggestion is which buildings you should start unlocking right through the epic project. I'm going to spend some tokens here, right? So I can show you with more music. Accuracy, that's it, okay? It's night here, but as the video progresses, I'll show you better these first buildings that have a S there. Game buildings, you also start unlocking games. They're very beautiful buildings. Then later here we'll have monuments too. Monuments, it's really cool being personal. As I always say, that one thing leads to another in the city. You will start with these two attractions. You start with the beach, and then with transport, it's very simple. As I said, the beach and transport, right? They have attractions that give more points, epics. You will find to make the gold tokens, and you will also be able to do them quickly, right? These buildings, because we will see, oh, how beautiful the beach buildings are. Oh, this one. Oh, I'm going to zoom in. Oh, how beautiful it is. See this one? Oh, beach. This one is the same row as the other one. Oh, beach. Let's see this one. Oh, the beach. See, guys, just the top building. Oh, let's see out here. Oh, this one, it's been over years since I played for you, but I was only lucky enough to come to one. I wanted to have at least 3 or 4 buildings like this really one beautiful on the beach. Hey, let's see other buildings here on the beach. This one is also really cool. The beach too. Hey, it's on the coast. Now let's go to transportation. Transportation. Cool there buildings really, too. This one is transportation. Most of the buildings, you see that have an H here, are transportation. Most of them, right? Transportation. Let's see another one here. Okay, education, then I'm going to talk about education for you. Let's look at this one here. Transport. You see, most of those who have one are transport. This one. Beach. Let's look at another one here. This is games then. Monuments. Monuments. Also, monument buildings are the taller buildings like this that have a very aggressive architecture. Right here on the beach. You see, I mean, from what I'm showing you here, the beach buildings are very good. And as I said, the attraction of the beach, right? Here are the coastal foss. You have a lot of them. It's very easy for you, right? The touch of gold. And continuing, let's now show education buildings. Beginning of the game. I had several buildings. They are very simple, but I didn't like them. Oh, this one is an education building. I'm going to have this one. And then, you see, for those of you who want to create a neighborhood like this with just an education building, it works. But if you really just want to put up very beautiful buildings, you know, very eye-catching buildings, I no longer recommend it for leisure. Let's see the leisure ones, how cool they are. Leisure here. Transportation, right? As I said, it contains a H, this one. Well, monuments, I had already shown these here. This building here too. I thought it was very beautiful, this one. 3 or 4 of them too. I would like to have. It's because I don't have all the tokens. Can't see it. But this one, I'm almost sure, is either leisure or a monument. Monuments, guys. The feet of monuments, there are also some that are ugly. This one, just don't destroy it because it's a touch of gold, right? Monument buildings, you want to build monuments, think carefully. Some that aren't so nice. There are always, right? This one, I don't know whether it's leisure or it's a monument. It's one of the 2. This building here. Leisure is beautiful. These here are also very cool. Also monuments. Let's see others here that are really cool. Like I said, this one is monuments. They're bigger buildings, right? Let's see this one. Transport. Do you want to see this? Monuments. Oh, this one here. There's an exception. Monuments, like I said, guys, the pre-monuments are some buildings that are very different from the others, right? There's a very different architecture here. The leisure ones, it's as if they were happier, right? They're painting the leisure time. This one too. I think it's very beautiful. This building is really cool. Every now and then, right? I put these here in front and I put these monuments in the back. It's because I liked putting the tallest buildings right here in front at that time. As I told you, right? It was these houses here. If you want, make a neighborhood. You can buy them. I've already shown everything, and here we'll see. Music. Oh, there. Okay, if I can do an R. For you on the other side, start planning your city first. Beach, second, transport, third, leisure, fourth, games, fifth, monuments, and lastly, education. I said, oh, these buildings here are beautiful, these houses to make a neighborhood, but if you really want to fill your city with these buildings, I no longer recommend these houses. Something else here for us to complement this video. The buildings of Tokyo has about 4 categories. He'll have this one here, which is a medium building. There's this one here, which is a large building. Here, which is the most beautiful of the buildings in Tokyo. These here are the same thing. The ugliest in Tokyo, I think these are here. Let's see, a tower. It's square, and at the end here is a tower. Do you also want to do a project using the buildings that are worth touching? 2, because it looks really cool. It's the Latin American houses. Houses that have very happy colors, right? They are very cool colors. You can also create a good neighborhood here in my neighborhood. V is a neighborhood, right? Would be the avenue of Latin American houses. And on the other side, a little bit of your doubts. Thank you very much for your suggestions, and whenever you have any idea that you